Bitcoin dumped all the way below the $56,000 overnight. We are now seeing a very big crash for Bitcoin. There's a lot happening in the world right now, and I'm going to tell you everything about it in this video. I'm going to analyze Bitcoin for you and what we can expect in the coming days. We could potentially see another huge crash coming, but about that later in the video. I will also analyze the two altcoins, Ethereum and Cardano, with you. There's a lot of interesting news coming into the market which I'm going to discuss with you in this video. So watch this video all the way to the end, like the video, and let's dive right into the charts. Yesterday I've been discussing this huge consolidation formation on the daily time frame with you for Bitcoin. We created this symmetrical triangle for Bitcoin. We broke down from this huge support area. We retested this previous support as resistance, and from there we are coming back down. So this could be a very interesting short setup which I warned you about, and now we are seeing lower levels for Bitcoin. And the breakdown target of this formation will be confluent with the downside of this formation, which will be around the $53,500. So this is still a little bit of a bearish scenario for Bitcoin that could play out in the coming days. And we could potentially also go to grab the liquidity around these lower sides, around this wick, and that will be below the $50,000. So this could also potentially play out in the coming days, so be careful here. And once we are going lower, the fear is getting into the market. And what you want to do when we are at stages of fear, exactly, you want to buy. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So if Bitcoin comes at these lower prices, I'm going to buy heavily into Bitcoin, and I will accumulate more BTC. And on the 4-hour time frame, we can see this horizontal level was coming into play for Bitcoin. Every time we touch this level, we saw a nice bounce from this level. But yesterday we broke below this level, so this is looking very bearish. And I think we could potentially see a retest of this previous support to turn it into resistance, and from there we can aim for lower targets. So this is looking a little bit more bearish than bullish, and then we have to aim for lower prices. So this lower side will be a very interesting support for Bitcoin, as I was saying. And at this lower side support, I'm going to accumulate more Bitcoin for the long term. And of course, this is not financial advice, but when we are in stages of fear, you want to buy into the market. And yesterday, the Bitcoin ETFs had a very bearish day. We saw an outflow of almost $290 million, so that is an insane outflow, of course. BlackRock didn't sell any of their Bitcoin, but the other Bitcoin ETFs were selling like crazy. We see the Fidelity Bitcoin ETF sold for $162 million, so that is insane, of course. So let's see if we can potentially see more bullishness coming into the market for the coming week, because we are now seeing 5 consecutive days of outflows, and that's not what we want to see. We want to see those inflows happening again. And these outflows also could potentially happen because the FBI warns that North Korea is trying to hack and steal US crypto and Bitcoin ETF funds. So the people inside of the ETFs maybe are going to sell their ETFs again because they're afraid that North Korea will maybe hack their accounts and that they will lose their Bitcoin. But I think this is just another way to create more panic into the market. And I think this is a very bad thing to do, and especially you don't want to sell at the lows, and because the smart money is always buying into the dips. And we're now seeing that the Bitcoin ETFs are selling into the dip, so that is a little bit crazy to see. And if we have another look at the daily time frame, we can see that Bitcoin got rejected last week by this huge horizontal support and resistance area. And last week this huge resistance was coming into play. We saw a big rejection, and we are now aiming for lower prices. So this lower side support is a very interesting support for Bitcoin to look at. And on the daily time frame, Bitcoin is still in this downtrend. We can see lower highs on the chart occurring, and we can also see lower lows occurring. So we are still in this huge downtrend, and eventually we want to create a new higher high, a new higher low, and from there we can aim for higher targets, because then we can see a trend reversal for Bitcoin happening. But for now, we can still see that we are in this huge downtrend, and eventually we want to see the break of this downtrend, that we're going to create a new higher high, that we're going to gain this high and eventually also this high, and from there we can aim for new all-time highs. But that is still a long road to come, of course. But for now we are at these lows, and we need to see more bullishness coming into the market. Otherwise we have to aim for lows around the $52,000, and that will be a very interesting support to buy more Bitcoin. And yesterday there was a total wipeout of $1.05 trillion out of the US stock market. So that was an insane day for the US stock market, of course. Especially Nvidia was going like crazy. They almost dumped for 10%. So that is insane, of course, for the biggest company in the world. So let's see if the stock market can turn things around today. and we want to see more bullishness coming into the market, of course. But while everyone is panicking, I'm always going to zoom out on the weekly charts and on the monthly chart. And if we then have a look on the weekly chart for Bitcoin, we can see this huge bull flag formation is unfolding, and we are still inside of this consolidation phase for this bull flag. So this is looking actually very bullish in my opinion, because we can see we had a huge run up. We are now consolidating for quite a few months now. We are inside of this formation since the beginning of March, and it's now in the beginning of September, so this is almost for 6 months already. So let's see if this lower side support will hold again for Bitcoin and this bull flag formation, and that we're going to see a revisit of this top side formation, and eventually we want to see a break to the top side, of course, a retest of this resistance to turn it into support, and from there we want to see this next exponential move to the top side, and the breakout target of this bull flag formation to the top side will be the $108,000. So on the higher time frame, I think Bitcoin is still looking very bullish, especially when we see this huge uptrend from these bear market lows, and now we're just consolidating, but everyone is panicking here, and I think you shouldn't be panicking, you should be buying. And the first altcoin I want to have a look at is Ethereum. We can see Ethereum is currently at this huge support area on the daily time frame. We can see multiple touch points in the past as resistance and support, and currently we are back at this huge support level. So we need to hold this level once again, and eventually we want to see more bullish price action in the coming days, of course. But if we're going to break below this level, we could potentially see a retest of this support level to turn it into resistance, and then we can come back to lower levels. And if we're going to break this horizontal level, we will come back all the way to the $2,100, and that will be around this level. Because in the past we can see a lot of interaction of this price coming into the market. We see a lot of resistance and support coming into the market, and also a couple weeks ago we came back to this huge support, but we bounced from the support as well. So if we're going to break below this level, I think we will see levels around the $2,100 for Ethereum. And yesterday the Ethereum ETFs also had a very negative day. We saw an outflow for more than $47 million, and especially the Ethereum ETF for Grayscale was selling like crazy. They sold for more than $52 million, so that is insane. And we can see the other Ethereum ETFs didn't buy any, so this is a little bit more bearish, of course. But so once Grayscale is done selling and the other Ethereum ETFs are going to buy, I think we will see the next spike to the top side for Ethereum. And if we then zoom in on the 4-hour time frame for Ethereum, we can see this falling wedge formation unfolding. We can see multiple touch points on the top side as resistance and also on the downside as support. And currently we are back at this huge support area. So we don't want to see a break below this level, otherwise we have to aim for lower prices. So we want to see a bounce from this level, a revisit of this topside resistance, and eventually we want to see a break to the top side, of course. So this could potentially be a bullish scenario that could play out in the coming days for Ethereum. So let's see if Ethereum can come back to this huge resistance and force a break to the top side. And then the top side of this formation will be the breakout target, and that will be around the $2,800. So let's see if this bullish scenario can play out for Ethereum in the coming days. And the next interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Cardano. We can see Cardano is still in this huge broadening wedge formation to the downside. We can see multiple touch points on the top side as resistance and multiple touch points on the downside as support. And currently we are also at this huge horizontal support. We can see a lot of touch points here in the past happening as resistance and support. And if we go further back, we can also see a lot of price interactions around this level. So this is the level for Cardano to hold. And let's see if we can see a bounce from this level and come back to this huge resistance on the top side. And of course, we want to see a break of this huge resistance, a retest of the resistance to turn it into support, and then we want to come back to higher targets. So let's see if we can break out of this huge falling wedge formation, because this broadening wedge formation is a typical bullish bias pattern, and it tends to break to the top side more often. And if we're going to break to the top side, the first big target of Cardano will be around this level, and that will be around the 55 cents. And after that, we will come back to the 66 cents. But first, we are now at this huge support area, so let's see if Cardano can see a bullish bounce from this level, create more bullish price action, and eventually we want to see a trend reversal happening. So that means we need to create a higher high after this high, and we want to also create a higher low. And from there, we can aim for higher targets after the trend reversal is confirmed. And let me know in the comments if you still hold Cardano in your portfolio and what your thoughts about Cardano are in the future. Please give a like if you find the video useful. Follow me on my socials, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.